Hi, English students. This is going to be a tutorial really quickly on how to start to do this first written response. And what I want you to do is go to Google Classroom, and you're going to see a description of the actual assignment up here. And so up here we've got, you can click on, this says third period, but of course for any period this will look about the same. So go ahead and find the assignment. When you find it, you're going to see that this first research task is written out. And this is basically going to be an argument. Okay, so it does say up here it's a 2 to 3 paragraph essay, but more accurately, it says down here it's a 500-word response. So you may choose to have more paragraphs than that. And what you're doing is you are going to write a persuasive response to this claim down here. Perhaps nothing's been more persuasive on the topic of young love as Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet, which we're going to read this week starting on Wednesday. It's modeled after the archetype of Pyramus and Thisbe you read earlier this year. And of course, spoiler alert, the two love-struck companions end up taking their own lives. I know, I'm ruining it for you. But here's the question. Does William Shakespeare have the type of life experience that would give him a balanced perspective on young tragic love? Does he have the credentials, so to speak, to this? So here's what you're going to do. Compose a short 500-word response in MLA format, and you'll see an example that's attached for MLA format that synthesizes 3 sources for support. These are the 3 sources right here. You can click on these links. Take a position that defends, challenges, or qualifies the claim that William Shakespeare has enough personal experience with tragic love to create a realistic portrayal of it in a play. So you'll want to include this statement, this claim right here at the beginning of your essay, at the beginning of your short response. I shouldn't say essay because it's 500 words. It is an essay, but it's a very short. We'll call it a mini essay. And you'll want to include this claim at the beginning. You want to read these sources, and again, you're looking for experience with tragic love. And so what is his experience with that? So when we click on these sources over here, you'll get the opportunity to read through some information about Shakespeare's marriage. Here is another source right here that we've got, and source B. And you want to read through this, of course, it's similar, but you're going to find some information that's separate. And then your last source down here, okay, should look something like this, Anne Hathaway, which will give us some information about the author too, about Shakespeare, before we actually read Romeo and Juliet. You may have done this in the past in another English class, but I think it's really important before we start to read anything that we understand who the author is and the context of the passage or the text. So those are some things that you're going to do is read those. When you're done, or when you have started to compile some information, you want to have some real citations in your mind, and you really want to decide, of course, which side you're on. We'll look at some examples later this week, but right now what I want you to do is just start to really put together, okay, which side are you on, and start compiling some information. This is an MLA template right here, and what you'll want to do, of course, is to write your response on here. You will actually cut and paste this. You'll get rid of all this over here, and you will include your information. Make sure that you include all this. This is an MLA format for you. Down here, we've got a works cited page, and the works cited page this time is going to be very simple, because really all you're doing is cutting and pasting these great citations that are already made for you. I do want to see these so you start to get the idea of these. They need to be alphabetized, on which they are not necessarily right there. And you want to include those on your works cited page, okay? I would also suggest that as you do research, as you read these 3 sources, that you start to cut and paste some quotes on this page, at least, that you're going to use, that you could use later in the paper to kind of collect your information. There's lots of ways to do this. You may do that on a separate piece of paper. We'll talk about different ways to collect information using source sheets, all kinds of stuff. For right now, let's keep it really simple. What you're doing is you are writing a 500-word response using these 3 sources. You're going to take a position that defends, challenges, or qualifies the claim. Again, that Shakespeare has enough personal experience with tragic love to create a realistic portrayal in a play. Make sure that you reread this claim up here and understand what it's saying. You might need to reread it 3 or 4 times and come back to this and make sure that you have a clear side. Okay, this is due on Friday, and the first goal is to spend a class period reading these 3 sources, deciding which side you're on, and collecting at least 3 or 4 quotes that are really going to help you, pieces of evidence that are going to help you put together your argument. You'll want to also watch the previous tutorial we're going to have on parts of an argument, and so that when you write your body paragraphs, you have in your body paragraph a reason, evidence from these sources, that you warrant that evidence, that you back that warrant. You have included counter argument that could be given on the other side of this, and that you're responding to that counter argument as well in each one of these body paragraphs, that you structure out a really clear argument. Okay, so make sure that each body paragraph has those 6 components. All right, looking forward to hearing your arguments, and hopefully this made sense. You can send me an email if it doesn't. Thanks.